Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it.
Hey y'all, come on in.
It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS.
I'm hot. I'll get started in a second.
This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it.
Excuse me.
It's all about community.
Hey, lovelies, coming in.
PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it.
All right, we getting started in a second, y'all.
It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS.
Hello, my loves. Happy Thursday.
But it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy.
All right. Happy Thursday to everybody. Hopefully everyone is having a good day so far. We got a pretty good topic today. Y'all know on our Think Tank Thursdays, this is when we kind of get into, the things that people don't really like to talk about, the controversial topics, the topics that are not the easiest to have, or the conversations that are not the easiest to have, or either just things that are commonly disagreed on, okay? For this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the disconnect between Black men and Black women and what we think. Of course, I'm going to give my opinion, but also feel free to give your opinion in the comments. I will read some of the comments and display some of the comments on the screen. So if you do want to give your 2 cents, whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, then definitely feel free to do so. So I want to start off by, introducing the topic and kind of getting everybody on the same page so you know exactly what we're talking about, where I'm coming from with this topic. And then, of course, again, if you want to give your 2 cents, definitely feel free to put it in the comments and I will display it on the screen so that we can kind of have a discussion. This is more of an interactive podcast, live situation, so definitely feel free to share your thoughts because I definitely want to hear them, and I know that people who are either tuned in or that will watch the playback of this will definitely also want to know what you guys think as well. Okay, so lately I know it's been a lot of back and forth, specifically when it comes to the Black community, between our men and our women. More particularly, discussions in regards to who needs to do what, why isn't this person doing this or that, why isn't this person doing more, or who needs to step up, who needs to do more, and each side has kind of been talking about what they feel, or just their 2 cents on why they feel the way that they feel, or whatever the case is. I know for me personally, I've been seeing a lot of TikTok videos, I've been seeing a lot of podcasts, I've been seeing a lot of posts, and so much more, from either Black women or Black men, kind of talking about, how they feel in regards to each other. And a lot of it is not positive. Let's just be real. A lot of it is not positive. Most of the times where we do see those type of conversations being promoted, it is usually not positive conversations. It's not us trying to come together to figure out how to move forward. If anything, it's people capitalizing off of the fact that we are not together, which is, in my opinion, making the gap wider than it is closing the gap. Okay. So this particular topic is, being brought up in discussion to hopefully start to close the gap between Black men and Black women. This is not a finger pointing session. Let me say that. We will be, of course, bringing to light the difficulties or the things that need to change on both sides, but this is not out of hate. This is not out of malice. This is not out of, any type of negativity. If anything, the purpose of this particular Think Tank Thursday is to find common ground, to figure out from the women's perspective what we feel like the issues may be, from the male's perspective what they feel like the issues may be, try to find some common ground and just get some type of understanding, right? Because you can't really do anything or move forward from anywhere until both sides are at least listening to each other and understanding what each other is even saying. Okay, so I'm going to, of course, speak from the woman's perspective. I do see there are a couple males that are tuned in, so definitely feel free to give what you feel like from the male's perspective, and we can move forward that way. I have also had some conversations recently with a lot of Black men, to kind of see, what they feel like the issues are. So I will bring up some of those topics or some of those points a little later on. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna start off this podcast by giving my specific 2 cents on what I feel like the issues are, or what I feel like the disconnect is, or even just where I feel like everything kind of started. Of course, again, feel free to, in the comments, give your 2 cents, and we'll kind of just piggyback off of each other and move along that way. Okay. So for me, I feel like the disconnect between Black men and Black women, number one, is communication. I feel like, because of all of the different traumas that we have endured as a people, period, as a melanated people, period, it has put a lot of weight on us individually, and then of course it starts to affect us collectively. Okay, so if we go back, prior to being involved with any type of westernized ideologies or theology or information or presence, period, before there was even a such thing as any other people on this planet other than melanated people, we were living in harmony. Man and woman was living in pure harmony. We knew how to work with each other. We knew how things were supposed to be. We knew how our energies were supposed to bounce off of each other. We knew the different roles that each side had individually, and then we knew collectively what we needed to do. And because of that, things were working a lot more smoothly. Back then, we understood that the foundation of any community, of any family, is the man and the woman. Now, before I get too far into this, if you are LGBTQ plus, you may not agree with a lot of the foundational things that I say. That's okay. Okay. But I'm just painting the picture here. Okay. For the majority, it has always been man with woman. I'm not saying that's how it's supposed to be for everybody, but I'm saying that that is what it needs to be in order for us to grow as a people, right? Man and woman have to come together in order to reproduce. There's no other way to reproduce, right? So we understood this as a people, that, if we wanted to have healthy environments, there needed to be a balance between the masculine and the feminine, right? So the woman we knew was honestly the matriarch, right? The woman was always the matriarch until we got introduced to Western society and Western culture and, non-melanated beings. The woman was always the matriarch, right? And this is not just because, oh, she's the woman, so she's in charge. No, it was because she's the woman. She brings life. Number one, women are also the most intellectual of the two. We are also the most nurturing of the two. We also are the most spiritual of the two. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Women are more spiritual. If you think of who brought you to, whether you were Christian, Muslim, whatever, the person who brought you to spirituality usually is the woman, your mama, your grandmama, your auntie, somebody along those lines. Okay. Women have always been more spiritually in tune, more intellectually in tune, more emotionally in tune, because we are the first of this realm, right? Before there was man on this realm, there was woman. That's just what it is, right? That's not picking no side. That's not trying to say anybody is better than anybody, but we have to deal with reality and we have to deal with facts. The facts is that everything that comes into this realm starts off female. That's just the reality. Every single child, boy or girl, that is walking on this earth started off as a feminine fetus. That's just how it is. Okay, we did make the rules hundreds of thousands of years ago, but at this point we didn't make the rules. Okay, this is just how things have been and will always be. Not only does everything start off female, but the woman gives the majority of the genetic matter to the baby. Each baby has way more genetic matter from their mother than they do their father. The egg itself carries the bulk of the genetic matter. How the baby will look, the hair color, all of that stuff usually comes from the egg. If you don't believe me, go research it. Okay. Remember, facts over feelings over here. We're not talking about feelings, we're talking about facts. Okay. So, because of this, the man knew back then. This is why when we get into ancient Kemetic science and history, you see all of the artifacts or the hieroglyphs in the temples and things of that nature have always been man and woman, right? Or it has been woman being, loved on, being adorned, being respected for her um influence on the community, for the things that she do, for the energy that she brings, so on and so forth. Okay, now as we get more into being introduced to Western civilization, being introduced to non-melanated beings, we get more into the patriarchal society where everything now is masculine, right? Now if we go to the basics of this realm, right, this realm is more than 70% water. Water is a feminine energy, okay? The earth takes up the vast majority of this land as well, and the earth is also a feminine energy. This is why we call her Mother Earth, okay? So this realm is very, very, very feminine. So because we move from this feminine energy, right? Because we all come from feminine energy. There's just no way around that. You cannot enter this realm but through a female, even if you're an animal. Okay, male animals do not give birth nowhere. A lot of people are like, oh, seahorses. Seahorses don't birth the babies, they carry them. So even seahorses, male seahorses, don't necessarily give birth, they just carry the babies. Okay, so everything that enters this realm has to come through a feminine energy. Okay, because of that, we are majority feminine energy. That's just what it is. Okay, especially for us women. Now, do men possess feminine and masculine energy? Absolutely, because they come from us. But because they come from us, we also within our being have masculine energy as females, as women, as the divine feminine. We also have masculine energy. That's why they are able to have masculine energy. They cannot have anything that we don't have. It had to come from us in some type of way, shape, or form, okay? Because everything comes from us, okay? So that's the background, right? So we know that this realm has always been highly, highly feminine inspired, because we know that that is the natural vibration of this realm, and we have always known to go with the natural vibration and not to go against it. This is going with the flow, this is trusting your intuition, this is, going according to your divine path, your destiny, your whatever. Okay, going with the natural flow of things. The natural flow is that the divine feminine, right, is one of the highest energies that is here on this realm. Point blank, period. Okay? That's just what it is. So again, as we get into Western, being introduced to Western society, being introduced to Western mentalities and ideologies, these motherfuckers coming out the caves and we helping them out and things of that nature, things started to change, because now the Westernized ideology is that the man is in charge, and they started to feed that to the Black community or the melanated community, as we started to work closer together, and then more forcefully as we went through quote unquote slavery. Okay, so once we get into being overtaken by the Western society, once we get into the loss of power from the melanated being, we start to see more patriarchal energy going crazy. We start to see, just the masculine energy just going ape shit fucking crazy. Hey, my pumpkin. So everything just started going haywire. Okay, literally. All right, things started to become more destructive, things started to become more unsafe, things started to become more hyper masculine, more overly masculine. The balance that we naturally had, before, was completely gone. Now let me say this, and a lot of people are not going to agree with it, but I believe that gender roles do exist. You don't have to believe in it, but I do. I believe at a certain point, gender roles do come into question. Now, do I feel like everything should be on a man or everything should be on a woman? No. Do I feel like, we can't balance certain responsibilities out and a woman can do certain things and a man can do certain things? No. But I do believe when it comes down to it, there are gender roles. For example, only women, biological women, women who were born women, women who were born with a vagina or the pieces to reproduce, are the only ones that can have a baby. That's a gender role. Males, no matter how much they want to, no matter if they really, 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 really wanted it, they cannot have a child. They cannot bear a child. They do not have the reproductive organs or the body chemistry to even birth or create or house a fetus. Okay, so at the very basis of it all, there are gender roles. For example, men are stronger than women physically, point blank, period. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Okay, men are biologically stronger than women. There's nothing we can do about that, right? Which is why they are natural protectors. Men also have specific chemical, a specific chemical makeup in their brains and their being that makes them naturally more aggressive, which is why they make better protectors. It just is what it is, right? There's just certain things we just cannot change. It's just certain things that just are what the fuck it is, okay? I believe that there are certain gender roles. Now, do I believe in gender roles as far as only a woman is supposed to cook in the kitchen? No, I feel like anybody can cook in the kitchen. Do I believe in gender roles as far as the woman is supposed to clean up the house and do all of that type of stuff, and a man just supposed to go to work and come home and sit like a lump on a log? No, I don't believe in that. I believe that anybody can go to work. I believe that anybody can take care of the house. I believe that, anybody can do those things. But I also do believe that the woman is the biggest influence on the children, regardless of what the fuck you talking about. When children learn how to be nurturing from their mothers, children learn how to deal with emotional situations or emotions, period, from their mothers, right? Children learn about being nurtured and loved, on certain levels from their mothers. There's just certain things that mothers do. There's just certain energies that mothers give off. There's just certain nurturing abilities that women have that men just don't have. So I believe that women are the most influential when it comes to children, more than men. When I say this, I mean more so teaching them the fundamentals of certain things, right? Being more involved. I feel like women should definitely be more involved with the children than the men are, because they have more to learn from the woman than they do the man on certain levels. But there's also certain things that the man also teaches the child, which is why I believe in a balanced environment. I believe in having a man and a woman in the home with the children to give them what they need from both sides, what they need from that masculine energy and what they need from that feminine energy. That's what I believe. Okay, so I just had to put that out there. Now, getting back into it. When we got introduced, like I said, to Western ideologies and things of that nature, that's when we started to step into this whole patriarchal society. They gave us a male god. They gave us, male ideologies. They gave us, male leadership, and all of these different things just started to become the man, the man, the man, the man, the man. And a woman just became a nanny, pretty much. A house nanny. She had no more spiritual essence. She had no more respect for her spiritual nature, for her nurturing nature. There was no more respect of the woman, right? Because Caucasian and other groups of people didn't have that type of understanding when it came to their women, right? They didn't have that type of understanding because they are not divine beings. So they didn't have a divine mentality. They had a destructive mentality. They had a controlling mentality. They had a primate type of animalistic nature to them. And because of that, they first started to attack our men, right? Before it became our black men being able to be in cahoots with these motherfuckers, they were the first targets because the men were in a position of protecting, right? Back then, men were protectors, providers. Not saying that's all they were good for, but those were some of the main attributes of their positions. They were protectors, they were providers. They understood that the woman and the child were the most valuable parts of the lineage, of the family, of the group, of the whatever. And because of that, they did what they needed to do to protect the woman and the child, right? Because not only are you protecting the next generation, which is the child, but you're also protecting the giver of life, which is the woman, right? You can't have society without no women, and you can't have society without no children. Point blank, period. Your society will not grow if nobody is reproducing. And the only person that can reproduce and give life and enter new motherfuckers into this realm is a woman. So those are the two major, most valuable components of our society is the woman and the child. And the men back then knew this, which is why they were protectors of both. Before you could get to the woman, you had to go through the man. And before you can get to the child, you had to go through the woman. Point blank, period. You wasn't just going to come and think you was just going to fuck with us and tear our shit down. No, we had things in place to make sure that the valuable assets of each community were protected. Okay? Now, because that started to get fucked up, because you had these Western civilizations and things that started to take these men into captive. And when they started to, get the men, now they had access to the women. Now they had access to the child. Okay? And then everything starts to go to shit. Okay? So, in what ways did they attack our men? We can go back to slavery, when they first started to emasculate our men by raping them, because men were some of the first to get raped when we talk about slavery. They had them performing incestuous acts to their mothers or their sisters or things of that nature to further break down the mentality, to break down the masculinity of these men. Okay? They did a lot of emasculating things. I'm just going to say that to men, period, throughout this time. A lot of torturous things, a lot of disgusting things, and they did a lot of this stuff in front of the Black woman, right? So their women and their children were watching these things happen to their fathers, their brothers, their grandfathers, and so on and so forth. So now what you're doing is you're emasculating the man in front of his woman, right? Which is already a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck, number one, for the man and the woman. And then two, you're making the woman look at the man in a different light. Now the woman can't look at her man for protection as she used to, because look at what you're doing to him in front of me. Right? So a lot of it was mental warfare first. A lot of it started out as mental warfare, playing games on the mind, playing tricks on the mind, making us look at each other in different ways, making us lose respect for each other, making us, no longer just in general look at each other in the way that we used to, no longer have the respect for each other that we used to, no longer have the trust for each other that we used to, right? And because of these mind games, it started to cause division. Okay. Now, another thing happened, which was, once slavery started to kind of die down a little bit, and, we got our quote unquote freedom, air quotations. Then you had the Caucasian man allowing the Black man more rights than the woman. So what this is now doing is creating a reliance and a hyper dependence, on women for men, because women could not go out and do what they needed to do for themselves. They couldn't go out and have certain, they didn't have certain permissions to do things like the men did. So now you have these groups of people, right, who are now in power, who are now in control, allowing the man to do things and then restricting the woman from doing those things. So what this did was start to create a divide, because now you have the Black man being introduced to, money, things that we didn't even care about before. Money, now they're starting, because they're no longer with their woman at home, they can no longer, have as much time at home with their woman and their children. Now they're being introduced to these Caucasian women, right? So now they disown a woman. Oh, my woman ain't this. My woman, these women over here got this and that. Then I come home to my woman and she got on these scrubs and this and this and this. So it's all a mind fuck. Okay, it's all a mind fuck. They allow men to go get educated, wouldn't allow the women to get educated. They allowed the men to go work, wouldn't allow the women to work. They allowed the men to go vote, wouldn't allow the women to vote. They allowed the men to go open up bank accounts, wouldn't allow the women to open up bank accounts. So there was a lot of, a lot of promotion to the men, Black men, to go out and do these things. But then the women were very stagnant. They had no choice but to be in the home, reliant on that man, which is why now you look at society, you see a lot of women doing for themselves, and men don't know what the fuck to do, because for so long it's been made, the system has been for men. It's a patriarchy. It's still a patriarchy, but it was more of one back then than it is now. Now we're forcing the envelope. Now women is like, y'all got us fucked up. It's gonna be fair out this bitch, whether y'all like it or not. And women are starting to go out and make their own coin and do their own thing. And men are now starting to feel like, damn, what am I for now? What am I supposed to do now? All these women want to go do their own thing and they act like they don't need us and blah 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 blah. But they don't understand that a lot of women are doing things that they were never able to do because of the structure of society, because of the patriarchal system that we've been forced to fucking live in. Okay? So one of the biggest things that I feel like we're dealing with is, like I said, communication. We lost the communication. We lost the ability to sit down and have conversations like this to try to get some sense made out of what the fuck is going on, so that we can move forward and figure out how to rebuild with both people having the rights, equal rights, with both people having equal intelligence, with both people having, equal things to give, right? We are basically rewriting everything at this point, right? And that's what we're supposed to do. As time change, we're supposed to move with the times. We're supposed to elevate. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to become better, right? So the only way we can do that is by having conversations and communicating with one another exactly where we are. And what women are saying right now is we've been in a place where all we knew and all we were raised to know was to depend on a man, right? And it's not because, we necessarily have to, because like I said, every woman may not want to be in relationship with a man at this point. That's just the reality. We have a lot of people who are lesbian. We have a lot of people who, are fluid. They talk to a man, they'll talk to a woman, they don't care. And then we have a lot of people who just don't want to be in relationship with men. I mean, that's just the reality, right? And because of that, a lot of men don't know what to do because they have been trained through, our introduction or our relationship with Western society, with non melanated beings. They have been mentally trained that a woman needs them to survive because of the fact that we didn't, as women, have certain rights of our own. So these men have been trained without us, these women can't do shit. Without us being this patriarchal man and blah 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 blah, these women cannot function. And we're functioning without them, and they don't know what the fuck to do about that. Right? And a lot of us women are saying, hey, it's not that we want to function completely without you, it's that we don't need to function with you. Right? So if you're not giving us the things that we feel like we need, then we will do it on our own. And we have to take into account back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s when the laws started to affect more men than it did women. So we had more of our men being locked up. We had more of our men, on drugs or things of that nature. So, they started off emasculating the man. Then they gave the man more rights than the woman. Then they started to fuck with the man, right? And started to make him, mentally fucked up. They started to play with men's hormones, okay? And a lot of the food, right, are making men more higher in their estrogen levels and lower in their testosterone levels, okay? A lot of the things are hormonal drugs being given to us through the food. So men can't even think right. Right? So they're out here doing dumb shit and, things of that nature. And then you have those same foods making women more masculine. And then you also have trauma from men that makes women more masculine because of the fact that we didn't have men in the home, because of the fact that they were playing around and sending our men to jail or prison or putting them on drugs or whatever the case is. Women had to step into that role. Right? So a lot of the men are like, damn, why I can't find a woman that's soft and sensitive? Why I can't find a woman that just want to be a woman and da-da-da-da-da? Well, sir, you can't, because most of us women was raised by our mamas and our mamas only. And we were raised by women who were hurt by men, right? Whether it was physically, whether it was emotionally, right? And all of these things our men learned from the Caucasian male. Because our men wasn't going out here graping us and doing all of these things. There was a respect level. They respected us. They knew who we were as a divine feminine. So we didn't have those type of issues until we were introduced to these non-melanated motherfuckers who came in and started teaching us all these animalistic ass behaviors, right? So you had men, that just felt like, okay, I'm just going to grape my niece and my nephew or my grandchild. And most of us women had to deal with that. There are more women in the Black community that have been molested, that have been raped, that have been essayed than anything. I mean, me as a life coach, me as somebody who specializes in shadow work and trauma healing and childhood healing, almost every client that I have has been touched against her will in some type of way, shape, or form by someone close to them, right? It's very seldom that it's a stranger. It's usually somebody that is close to you, somebody who is in close proximity to you, or a family member. And it's so unfortunate, right? So a lot of men don't understand why we as women are so masculine, why we as women are so distrusting of the male energy, the male presence. And it's because our first attacker was a black man. Our first attacker, our first person that, did something to us against our will was at the hands of a black man. Right? And until we understand the trauma behind it, then we can never move forward. We can't just sweep that under the rug. That's not something that can just get swept up under the rug. Right? And then for our black men, most of their first, uneasy treatment or trauma stems from either society, when it comes to police presence, when it comes to governmental presence, or it comes from, their mothers as well. A lot of men are more traumatized from their mothers than they are their fathers. That's just facts. Well, a lot of men won't tell you, but if you close enough to a man, ask him who broke his heart first. I guarantee you he say his mama. Right? And it's a cycle, right? Because the mother is attacked by a black man around her, so now she harbors these emotions. She has a son or a daughter. She imparts these generational curses into her son or her daughter, and then they grow up with these same issues. They do it to their kids do it to their kids, and it becomes this generational cycle. Right? So another big thing that I feel like we need to understand is both sides have been traumatized. We have both been traumatized systematically and then personally within our own families, right? How many women can say that they've had, men in the family do things to them? They go to the women in the family and tell them about it, and the women don't believe them and take the side of the man. What the hell? Right? I've had so many clients that have had things happen either at the hands of like their uncles or whatever the case is. They go and talk to their grandmothers about it. The grandmama don't believe them, still let the uncle come to the cookouts and come to the family functions like nothing happened. Or it's the grandfather, and because the grandmama don't want to believe that her husband is a sick fuck, she takes the side of her husband, still stays with this motherfucker, allows this motherfucker to do whatever the fuck he wants, and doesn't hold him accountable. Right? But that stems from, like I said, when all we had to depend on was the man, because the woman couldn't do shit. So we talk about our grandmamas who were in marriages, not because they wanted to be in them, but because they had to be in them, because they couldn't do shit for themselves. They couldn't do shit for themselves back then. They couldn't go open no bank account. They couldn't, go have a home for themselves and raise their children. They couldn't do none of that, because back then you had to be married to a man in order to get certain benefits, because that man was the only one who had those certain benefits. So a lot of those women felt like they had to ignore the abuse. A lot of those women felt like they had to ignore even them getting abused. Right? And it turned them into these older women who lacked taking accountability or dealing with whatever issues they needed to deal with, because they're still in the mentality of, I got to sweep this under the rug in order to survive. We got to sweep this under the rug in order to get some food put on the table, because if your daddy leave us, we not going to have shit. Right? That's why a lot of these men talk something, oh, I want a woman that cook and clean and da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 like back in the day. And we looking at them like, nigga, the only reason we had to do a lot of that shit was because we couldn't go out to do things on our own. We didn't have the freedom as women to go out and be who we wanted to be and start our own businesses and be entrepreneurs and make our own coin and take care of ourselves and do what we want to do for ourselves. We didn't have those type of, abilities at that point. You had to get married. That's why a lot of them married young. 16, 17, sometimes 14, 13, 12. They was getting married very young, having children very young. Okay? Because that's what they had to fucking do. Not because that's how it's supposed to be, but because they had to do it that way. Right? So I'm gonna tell y'all this little story. This is one of my favorite little analogies and stories to use, because I feel like it speaks to what the fuck is going on between us as a collective in the Black community, right? So there's this family, right? This mother and this daughter, and it's Thanksgiving, right? And some of y'all heard me tell the story before, but whatever. It's Thanksgiving, right? And the mama and her daughter is in the kitchen, and the mama is about to make a turkey, but she cuts off the wings of the turkey before she puts it in the oven. And the daughter's like, Mom, why every time you make a turkey, you always cut off the wings of the turkey before you put it in the oven? And she's like, I don't know. I just did it because I seen my mama do it like this. So the girl goes and asks her grandma, why, do you and mama cut the wings off the turkey before y'all put it in the oven? The grandma's like, I don't know. I watched my mother do this. So thankfully to God, her great grandmother was still alive. And she goes to the great grandma. She's like, Great grandma, why do, grandma and mama cut the wings off the turkey before y'all put it in the oven every Thanksgiving? I just don't understand. Excuse me. And the great grandmother says, well, when your grandmother was your age, we had a really, really small oven and it could not fit a whole turkey. So I had to cut the wings off the turkey so that the turkey could fit in the oven and cook properly. And this just goes to show the mama don't need to do this because she has a bigger oven. But she don't even know that that was the reason for it. But it goes to show that when you pass things down, nobody knows why we're doing it. We're just doing it because the person before us did it, and the person before that did it, and the person before that did it. But we don't realize that they were doing what they had to do with the things that they had, right? Some traditions are not traditions because they mean something. Some traditions are traditions because that's all we fucking had at the time. Right? It's no different than people still eating chitlins and pig feet and all of this stuff. We had to eat those things because all we had was scraps. We no longer have scraps. So we can do more because we have more, right? And this is the biggest disconnect of our generation. We're still operating off of these old values or things that we feel are values because it was passed down and that was the old way. But we're not realizing that those people only did what they had to do to survive with the things that they had. We have more now, which means we can do more now, which means that we need to reevaluate what the fuck we're doing so we can approach it from a 2023 stance with the things that we now have as of 2023, right? And this is one of those things. Don't no woman need to just be no housewife. Women had to be housewives. Don't no man just have to only be a protector or provider. They had to only be protectors or providers. Now we're in a place where both sides can do more, right? Both sides can do more. Both sides can be more. Both sides can give more. Point blank, period. We're in a place where things are better, right? So now we have to reevaluate where we are, where we're trying to go, and figure out how to get there with the things that we have in front of us at this time. Not the things that we had 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 400 years ago, but the things that we have at this moment, okay? Another thing I feel like we need to do better with is loyalty. We are no longer loyal to each other as a community. And I really hate that for us, right? If you can look at any other community of non-melanated people, they have camaraderie. These motherfuckers stick together, right? And a lot of it is, they fucked it up for us because we had that type of camaraderie. We had that type of unity. We had that type of support, right? Until we were overturned and thrown out by the Caucasoid. It just is what it is, right? And then at that point, we started to separate because, like I said, they started to give more rights to the men, no rights to the women. So it started to create this hatred for each other, right? It started to create this disconnect within our communities because some of us was receiving rights and some of us wasn't. Some of us got a chance to do this and some of us didn't. Some of us was able to go to this place and some of us couldn't go to this place. Some of us was able to open up this and some of us wasn't able to do those things, right? So there's no loyalty, there's no camaraderie, there's no togetherness in our communities anymore because of the disconnect that was forced upon us. Now, y'all got to remember, everything that is happening and everything that has happened to us was purposeful. They purposefully ostracize our men from us. They purposefully took the men out of the homes. They purposely did these things because we had the most solid foundation you can imagine. And they knew that they had to get in the ears of the man in order to start to disconnect the family and the household, right? So I know y'all just seen some of the reports of the female who just recently got hit in the face with a brick. Okay, it's all over TikTok. If you don't know what's going on, go look it up. Basically, this woman got into it with some guy and she got hit. The guy hit her in the face with a brick. There's so many black men on social media saying, oh, well, that woman deserved it. Oh, well, it is what it is. She was out there doing stuff to people. Some reports were saying she was putting her hands on people and this, and that. So you telling me as a man with twice the amount, thrice the amount, quadruple the amount of strength over that woman, your only option to get that woman away from you, to get that woman up off of you, was to get a brick and smack her in the head? That was your only option? Are you fucking kidding me? Now, could that woman have been wrong for trying to put her hands on people and doing whatever she was alleged to have done? I don't know what she did to warrant whatever happened. But no way. If she didn't have no gun towards your head, if she didn't pose a serious threat to your life, ain't no way you picked up a brick and you smacked that woman in her goddamn head. And all of these black men specifically were in the comments trying to find ways that shit was okay. What the hell? What the fuck is going on? Right? How many different ways do black women have to tell men that they do not feel protected? Black women will come to the defense of a black man before a black man comes to the defense of a black woman. Any day. Every day, any day, all day. Every day, any day, all day. A woman will stand in front of a gun for the man that she loves before some of these men will stand in front of one for her. Any day, all day. I've seen so many black women come to the defense of so many people. And this is why we as black women feel like we're not being protected by our men anymore. What the fuck is going on? We see all of these black men that are killing and unaliving these women and children in 2023. Not only are the women under attack, but the black men are now going for the babies. We have grown-ass men shooting babies. This is what's going on right now. Ain't no way we can justify any of this behavior. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Now, black women, when we get hurt, when we are hurt, when we're dealing with trauma, we are not the nicest people to be around either. Now, I told y'all this is going to be a very, very fair think tank. We're not just going to put it all on one side. Okay? Each side has blame to share. We are not the happiest campers to be around. And the wrath of a black woman, baby, you will want to do something to her motherfucking ass. Some of our mouths are so vicious, a motherfucker might want to smack us up and down. Should they? No. But are they valid in wanting to? Maybe. Let's be honest. Okay? A lot of us are a woman scorned. Ain't nothing more dangerous than a woman scorned. Now, these men are pretty dangerous, but a woman who is scorned, that's a different level of crazy. That's a different level of possibilities. And we got to be real. We got to be real. We got to call it what it is. We got to say what it is. Okay? So we both have things to do. We both have things to work on. We both have things to be better at, right? But what's missing is, number one, healing. Both sides have to heal. We have both been, genetically fucked up. We both genetically fucked up because we understand that memories and things get passed down through the generations. So a lot of the traumas that we're dealing with are not even our traumas. A lot of the traumas we're dealing with come from 100 years ago. right? So not only are we genetically fucked up, but then we also have our own issues based on our own traumas that we did experience. So we have to heal from genetic things, things from our lineage, and then we also have to do our own healing on the things that we personally have gone through and have dealt with, because of whatever traumas we have, endured. That's number one. Both sides have to heal. Before we can see eye to eye, we got to get on the same page with ourselves first. There's a lot of Black women going and doing their healing. Kudos to y'all. There's men doing their healing, but not as many. Not as many as a Black woman. I mean, I'm just gonna say that. We got to keep it real. There's not as many men healing as there is women. But there is a large amount of men that are healing and doing their work. So I don't want to take credit from anybody who is doing the work. Okay. Another thing that we need to do is have more conversations where we are both listening to understand and not to respond. I can't tell you how many podcasts and videos and comment sections and whatever else I read through or I watch. And the main issue is nobody is listening to each other. No one is listening. The man is saying how he feel and the woman is taking it personal. The woman is saying how she feel and the man is taking it personal. No one is listening. No one is seeing the bigger picture. No one is trying to understand what the fuck is going on. Everybody is taking everything as a personal attack, and that just shuts everything down, right? So we need to start having more conversation with each other as Black men and women alone, without the input of other motherfucking groups of people. Having our own conversations, having our own dialogue, having our own meetings, having our own come together moments, and figuring this shit out. How do we move our people forward? Point blank, period. Okay? Another issue is society. Excuse me. Society now is promoting, and a lot of people may feel some type of way about this, but society is promoting interracial relationships more now than ever. And it's not because they're trying to promote love. If it was just some love shit, okay, cool. But it's not because of love. It's because of them using us yet again. Okay? These Caucasian people wouldn't be caught dead with us a couple years ago. They didn't even look at us as being human, as being equal. But they've convinced our men at one point that being with a Caucasian woman was better than being with a Black woman. And they're starting to convince our women at this point that being with a Caucasian man is better than being with a Black man. But what we're really doing is diluting our power and our melanin. And these other motherfuckers is trying to use love to get some melanin passed along in their motherfucking lineage so that their lineage can live. Let's talk about it. We are being manipulated by the people around us. They're never going to come and tell us to get it together and to be better towards each other because they benefit off of us being disconnected. The world is benefiting off of us being disconnected. Y'all got to understand that. Everybody is winning when we are not on the same page. Every time a Black man go make a rap song about this woman being a bitch and this woman being this and pussy that and I fucked her and da-da-da-da and blah, 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 blah. And every song that a woman make about I fuck these niggas, I don't need a nigga, da-da-da-da-da. It's making more of a gap. It's making more of a gap. And like I said, we don't got to be with each other, but we do need to have respect for each other. Period. Point blank the fuck period. We have to have respect for each other no matter what. Everybody is not going to date Black. We get that. It's 2023. People want to do their own thing. And everybody is not going to date the opposite sex. We get that. It's 2023. People want to do their own thing. So this is not a you got to date the opposite sex type of live or podcast. We're simply saying that we need to be on the same page. Whether you dating the opposite sex or the same sex, if they Black, we all need to be on the same page. Point blank, period. We need to be sticking up for each other way more than we are. And a lot of it is the lack of education. right? They took the education from us. They educated the rest of the world and left us kind of back, down in the dumps as far as their version of knowledge. Because remember, we are melanated. So we have all of the education of this realm is within you already. You was born with it within you. Going through your spiritual journey is how you unlock that knowledge, right? And then you get confirmation from different things that are happening around you. But you were already born with the education and the knowledge. You just got to tap into it. You just got to tap into it so that you can get it, right? But they took our shit and educated the rest of the world and didn't educate us. Gave things to the rest of the world and didn't give things to us, right? So we were on this hamster wheel trying to catch up. Now, if you pay attention, us as a melanated people at this point, we're at the top of everything, especially Black Americans. Every part of this world want to be a Black American. It has always been like this, right? But now we see it. They try to keep it under wraps before and try to make it seem like, oh, everybody wants to be like the Caucasians. Nobody want to be like the motherfucking Caucasian. We didn't ever want to be like them. We just had to have access to the shit that they had access to. But everybody wants to be like us. And again, specifically Black America. Now you see people in China wearing do-rags. I ain't never seen no shit like that before in my motherfucking life. You see people in all types of places with locks. They over there matting their hair up because they can't have locks. Because locks mean that you have curls that lock together as one. That's what that actually means. So they can't lock no straight hair. They can't lock fur. But whatever. They over there with their matted faux locks. That's what I'm going to call them. Okay, you got people want to get braids now. Everybody wearing colorful wigs. Everybody wearing makeup and eyelashes and all of the things that they told us was ghetto. All the things that they made us feel like, we're not welcome in any type of society. The piercings, okay? If you don't know, piercings date way before slavery. We've been piercing ourselves in different places for different reasons, okay? But everybody want to be pierced up, tatted up, locked up, weaved up, eyelashed up, and everything the fuck else, okay? Not only that, our music. They've taken our music. They've taken our dancing styles, okay? If you look around the world, go on TikTok, go on any social media app, everybody wants to be like the Black American. That's just what it is. A lot of people want to say, oh, y'all came from Africa, blah, 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 blah. No. We were already here, okay? We have been all around this motherfucking realm forever, okay? It's not new. We're not new to any part of this motherfucking world. We have been all over since the beginning of time, okay? But the world is not out here trying to be like Africans. But they damn sure is out here trying to be like Black Americans. Let's talk about it. Let's be fucking real. Let's talk about it and let's be fucking real. Even the people over in Africa is trying to be like the Black Americans. Let's talk about it and let's be all the way to fuck 100. Let's be real, okay? So we are on display to the world right now. We are on fucking display. Everybody wants to do what we do. Everybody wants to look like how we look. Everybody wants to talk the way that we talk. We can't even have our own lingo. Before a person would be caught dead talking in AAVE 10, 15 years ago. They didn't want to speak like us because they felt like that was ghetto. They didn't want to walk like us, talk like us, look like us, dress like us, get their head done like us. They didn't want to do that. They felt all of that shit was ghetto. Now it's supposed to be a trend. And then these will be the same motherfuckers that open their mouth and be like, oh, Black people don't got no culture. We don't got no culture. So what is it that you are trying to do? What is it that you're trying to replicate then if we don't have no culture? Because I don't know no other part of the world that wore do-rags. Africans wasn't wearing no motherfucking do-rags. What the fuck? What are we talking about? Look at how they dress now. They got skinny jeans over there over in Africa. Where the fuck skinny jeans came from? Drill music, they making drill beats now. I just seen a video the other week of Africans rapping on a drill beat. I said, what the fuck is going on? Okay, So obviously, we have always been at a place that people wanted to be like us. And because they couldn't be like us, they had to separate us. They had to make us feel, lower of ourselves. They had to dumb us down. They had to turn us against each other and create so much turmoil within our own community so that they can continuously take from us, continuously, steal from us and things of that nature, and also keep us under their motherfucking boot at the same time. Right? Then they started to give us little shit like, oh, now that you see a couple black people with over $1 million, y'all feel like we getting somewhere. But if you knew who we were as a people way before all of this, because remember, money is nothing. Money really has no value. All of that shit is make believe. Okay? It's almost like playing Monopoly. If you ever played Monopoly, that fake ass money, that's what the fuck we have. All of that money is fake. I keep telling y'all, anything with value was already here. Money wasn't here when we got to this motherfucking realm. But gold was, silver was, copper was, crystals were. Those things will never lose their value. The plants were, the food was, the animals was, us melanated people was, right? So anything that was already here are the most valuable things. Money don't have no fucking value. So now they've tricked us. They gave us a couple coins. They gave us a little platform. And we feel like we doing something. Well, really, we still at the bottom of the barrel and don't even realize. Because we used to be way more advanced. Even the technology that we have, these phones, this ain't shit. This ain't shit. The technology that the government is hiding, baby. Okay? They made us feel like we was dumb, like we ain't know nothing. And then they taught those things to the other countries as well. They went over to the UK, they went over to Africa, they went over to Asia and Europe, and they taught these motherfuckers that the black people are lazy, they're stupid, they don't know shit, they don't know this, they don't know that. They gave us a horrible ass name. So not only did we learn to look at each other with malice in our eyes and with hate in our hearts, but now we also have other communities that were taught to look at us the same type of motherfucking way. No respect, can take whatever they want from us, but not respect who we are. Can bite off of our energy, can bite off of our swag, can bite off of our intelligence, can bite off of our technology, can bite off of our lingo, can bite off of our everything, but give no credit, but still disrespect us to our motherfucking faces. So we need to realize the enemy is not each other. The whole beef between us both is something that was organized and literally created to be that way. We don't really got no beef with each other. It's not nothing that can't be healed, right? But our real problem is everybody else around us that has benefited off of us hating each other, that benefits off of us being at odds, that benefits off of us not being one. Okay? Period. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this and got something from it. If you do want to quickly give your 2 cents in the comments, then I will definitely put some of y'all comments on the board to show what some of the people were saying. So we have Shelly saying, and the Kardashians capitalized off of our culture. Yes, the fuck they did. And yes, absolutely. Kim K came out with that big old fat old ass that was fake. Okay, she at one point was trying to sell do-rags and earrings or something, and all of this other bullshit. Okay, off of our community, got Kanye and fucked him up and all this other shit. And then she went and got her ass deflated and was like, I no longer want to be associated with nigger culture. They make all of the money and then they be like, I don't even want that shit no more. Okay. They also portray it in the movies. Absolutely. Most of the family movies that we had, we no longer have. Most of the family shows that we had, we no longer have. Even down to the music, you know what I'm saying? Going back to the music. Back in the day, music was more so about love. You had black men literally crying on songs. I love you. Oh, baby, come back. And everything else. These motherfuckers was in love. right? And then they had that meeting in the 90s that I always tell y'all about. And definitely go research that meeting in the 90s. And everything started changing. All of a sudden, it became bitches and hoes and fuck that and sell this weight and whip the work and everything the fuck else. And we have now, as a culture, been defined as drug dealers, prostitutes. You know, that's our main. That's who we are. We were the group of drug dealers and prostitutes, according to the collective at this point. So again, definitely hope that y'all got something from this. Take this conversation and this prompt and go take it to some of your friends and people of your community and have this conversation. If you have a platform, I definitely invite you to pose this question to your platform and see how they feel about it. But we do need to have more conversations like this. We do need to talk more about how we got here so that we can, heal and start to move forward. Okay. I've been watching your past lives and you opened up so much for me. I was at work yesterday crying because I realized how much childhood healing I need. Thank you for sharing your gift. You are so welcome, sweetheart. I definitely appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, all of you guys for watching. Anybody who's been watching me from the very beginning, either if it was the beginning of my YouTube days or the beginning of me being on either Facebook Live or anything, I definitely appreciate y'all. I'm glad that any of the things that I talk about, any of the information that I share, any of the knowledge that I give, I'm happy that it is helping anybody. That is the whole goal. So with that being said, I am offering specials for mentorships. I am offering specials for people who are ready to heal, people who feel like they're stuck, people who are ready for a change, ready to change their lives. I was able to literally change my life within a year's time, literally like night and day. I'm talking about night and day. Like I was living one type of life and then shit changed. All through spirituality, all through healing and figuring out who I am. So I dedicated my life to doing the same. I've always been a person that wanted to help people and give people knowledge and truth and whatever else I can give them, and to help them become better versions of themselves or to help them elevate past where they are. So if you do need any assistance, if you have any questions, if you do need any help, definitely contact me at my email right here below, PocaSPEAKS615@gmail.com. My website is currently being redone right now, so it's going to be offline for a while. So the best way to contact me is via email or via inbox on my Facebook or my Instagram. Either one of those, I'll be able to answer you as soon as possible. I do have payment plans for those who need it. I do understand we're in a recession and I'm not money hungry. If you know me, I've never been money hungry, but I do have to get something for giving out my energy. And that's just how I put it. So if you do need the assistance, like I said, I do have specials and payment plans for those who need it. I am running specials right now for the month of September as well. So if you need it, definitely reach out. And it doesn't have to be through me, but if you know that you need assistance, period, definitely reach out, ask for help. Don't suffer in silence. There's too many people suffering in silence and unaliving themselves or just doing even more detrimental things to themselves because they don't want to ask for help. Don't be one of those people, okay? Get the help that you need so that you can move forward and become the person that you're supposed to be. Other than that, definitely make sure that you like, share, and subscribe and turn on your notifications if you are watching me from YouTube. If you're watching me from Facebook, definitely make sure that you send a reaction and share this video with anybody who can use any of these talking points or just want to hear this message. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow for our Fortune Fridays. We're going to pull some cards and get some energy for the next couple of days. We did do Wisdom Wednesdays yesterday, and we did Topic Tuesdays as well. So definitely make sure that you go back and watch those videos as well. There's a lot of messages and a lot of points and things that may resonate with you all. Other than that, I send you light and love, and I will see you either tomorrow or next Monday. Peace.